to build that, that's
No.
gonna be.
Yeah, that's a
you know,
good
the
picture.
thing.
Chewy, that's a good image right there. Holy.
Well, that's the image you said.
This is producer here. What? That's the
Is that,
Oh.
bro.
is that Scotty?
Whoa.
Scotty Godinez Jr.?
I
Sorry,
didn't set
guys.
that.
I mean, Goodmanson. Goodmanson.
Welcome to my podcast.
I was like, bro, that's not the right camera.
You just scared everybody away.
Oh man, we're
What are you
struggling.
talking about?
Sorry for the late
Nikki-
start, guys.
Nikki just jumped in.
We'll
We
get
went
into
from
it here
6 people
shortly.
before.
Wouldn't be an Old
they
Carver
were
Fishing
looking at your ugly
podcast
mug.
without some technical
Hi.
difficulties.
Hi, Chewy.
Well, we had to switch
There
all
it
this stuff
is.
around in new format.
Well, guys, welcome to Old Carver Fishing Podcast. Lots of technical difficulties today. We couldn't get our headphones to work.
Ron Cleveland's here.
It was
Chewy
great.
had to hit a button. Well, Ron Cleveland, welcome to the stream. Anyways, we're here at Old Carver Bait and Tackle Shop here in Carver, Minnesota. And let me tell you, she's a warm one today. It is April 12th, and it is warm.
Like 85,
Almost 90 degrees today.
86.
And it was, I didn't really go outside today. I was in the office all day. But when I got outside, that felt good. And it made me feel like spring's finally here until it gets cold again this weekend. And then
It
won't.
did. It did. It was 86 degrees.
Yeah, that's
or at least my
crazy.
truck said. And at 90 degrees, Floyd's gives away free beer. So I was just sitting
Oh,
there
you
waiting.
like that. Waiting
Well,
for
yeah.
that time.
Who doesn't like free beer, right?
That's true. Anyways, I am Luke Henches, Rods and Reloads on YouTube. Brand new channel me and Tara
Do
have.
the intro again?
Yeah, let's run the intro one more time. This is our new Oh, do you?
I said. it
Anyways,
that way.
that's our intro to our new channel, Rods and Reloads on YouTube. And next to me here, the fella in charge of it all, Chewy Godinez Jr. He is co-owner of Old Carver Bait and Tackle Shop here in Carver, Minnesota. Stoked Custom Baits. What else,
You
Chewy?
guys see what he just did right there? He's like, the one is in charge of it all. So yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah,
We're
it's
a
his
fucking
fault.
late, yeah.
Anytime something bad goes wrong, it's Chewy's fault. If it's really good, it's me. Right?
Or sometimes we put on Scotty.
And then-
I'm late a lot too, so
Next to Chewy,
it happens.
camera, we have Scott Goodyman, Norfin Pro Staff, Old Carver Fishing Pro Staff. And he is here as well, drinking his Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew that looks like not. It looked like Mountain Dew from the side. Next to him, we got Dan, River Rat Dan. That's his new nickname, River Rat Dan. Do you like that nickname? Or do you like Danny Two Cats?
I know. I'm still waiting from the guys down south to come up with the good ones.
That's
for me.
true. He does
Something like the
Azul.
Texas Tornado
something.
or El Zul,
You
El
can't.
Gato, El Zul.
River Rapid Runner, something crazy like that.
If I made it up that far, maybe.
Anyways, we are here in Carver, Minnesota. And go ahead, Dan.
What's nap in Spanish?
Chewy.
Nap?
¿Cómo se dice
Siesta.
nap?
Siesta.
Siesta,
man.
Dan? Dan's getting the beverage here quick. Anyways, we're gonna on this podcast, we're gonna talk a little bit about spring catfish. And by a little bit, I mean everything is gonna be about spring catfishing. So that's gonna be the butter for today's podcast. If you guys have any questions on catching spring catfish, make sure you ask them in the comments down below. Also, we are having our second grand opening on April 29th. I am going to be doing a noon spring flathead seminar here for anyone that wants to attend that. Learn a little bit, ask some questions. If you're experienced or not, I think it'll be fun. It'll be good. Even if you're an experienced cat fisherman, it's good to talk to other fishermen about what you do, because not everything's the same for everybody. Everyone does stuff different.
That's how I learned.
I plan on
God.
attending. Are you gonna tell everything, or are you
Well,
just gonna be selective?
I'll tell everything.
Can I go?
Of course you can go. So we're gonna be doing a seminar at noon. My friend Patrick Jones from the Minnesota Vikings will be here at 11 a.m. He's going to be doing autographs, taking pictures of people, talking about fishing. He's a huge fisherman, loves fishing. He actually just got back from Florida. He gets back from Florida Friday, and he's been fishing in Florida the whole time he's been there. He's been going to the Keys like every day.
That's
So,
awesome.
Kinda cool
So if
start.
I pass my questions off to that guy, you'll answer them no matter what.
Yeah. Well, Pat's going to be in my boat a lot this year. He's already established that. He's with me and Tara every time we go. So there's going to be
Did he sell his boat?
He did not sell his boat. His boat is still for sale. If you guys are interested in a Lumicraft,
It
it's
is
a 2022. Other than that, we're gonna be doing hot dogs this time. We're not gonna be doing burgers and stuff. We're gonna do hot dogs and drinks. That'll start at about 11 o'clock. Pat will be here at 11. Seminars at 12. And if you are interested in fishing the Carver Catfish League, make sure you get on the Facebook group. Message me on Facebook that you're interested. It is going to be starting on May 20th, and it's going to be every other Saturday after that for boat fishermen. And then every weekend in between that is the Shore Fishing League for shore fishermen, and you can do it in a boat, but you cannot have your rods in the boat. You can go to the spot in your boat and shore fish, but you have to be on shore with your rods. There's a lot more details involved in that. If you are interested, make sure you shoot me or Chewy a message on Facebook. So that starts May 20th. Other than that, let's get into some catfish talk for the spring. So springtime's an interesting time, especially up here in the northern part of the United States. I would say it directly affects everywhere in the United States because flathead fishing in general, everywhere in the country, at least slows down in the winter months, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we think we're in the spot where they go into torpor, where they almost hibernate in the winter, but not every region it's like that.
Get down to like Kansas.
Even like southern Iowa, they're not quite as deep. And if you got some warmer water, you can actually catch flatheads. But obviously, the majority of them are going to be in groups. Dan, go ahead.
What are the flatheads doing right now?
Water temp is what?
50?
Water temp's 50?
I don't know.
If the water temp's 50, they're coming out of their wintering holes. So I'm going to get into that. I'm not quite there yet. I have kind of a speech I want to give.
Sure. What do you think sorry
No,
for
you're good.
interrupting.
No, you're good.
No,
I'm going to
no.
get into all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what water temperature would you say you're in go mode?
I start fishing flatheads when the water hits 55 here in Minnesota. Flatheads. I really get excited when it hits 60.
How do you do when it's 55?
55, you can fish. I don't really fish a lot of flatheads when it's 55. But the bite changes. Obviously, the spring bite compared to summer bite, they attack baits a lot differently. You know that how aggressive they bite changes. The further they get out of their wintering and after spawn, they start really hammering baits and not just running with baits. You get a lot of runs and drops in the spring. I think that has a lot to do with them. I don't know if it's them moving so fast through spots, getting back to their summer spots to spawn, or so. Anyways, catfish. I'm losing my mind here.
More specifically, if you were to target a flathead catfish right now on the Minnesota River in Carver, how would you do it?
I wouldn't, because they're probably still wintering. Because I don't think the water's over 45 yet.
You don't think any of them are moving?
No, I think some are.
Some are.
Yeah,
So there's a possibility that you could catch some through
it's
the mouth.
I guess it's possible. I don't know the water temp right now, so I can't say that.
Yeah, I can't really.
Nobody knows the water temp right now because the gauge is gone unless you're out in the boat checking it.
Sure.
But they come out of their slumber. They group up in the winter here, in Minnesota specifically. They group up in balls, and people think they're in the deepest part of the river. They're in the big holes in the river. That is not true. They do not winter in deep holes. They don't need deep holes to winter. They like current breaks. And some spots in the Minnesota River that they winter, if some people know the spots, I know Dan does, there's nothing deep about the spot at all. It's 10, 12 feet deep. There's a 40, 35-foot hole right next to it, and they don't winter in it.
No.
And it's just this perfect little break where they group together. If you've never, I should have put a picture of wintering flatheads on here. I didn't do it, but they get together, they group winter. It's called torpor. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's TORPOR.
Right.
It's a state of hibernation, but not true hibernation. It's when they're in that state in the cold water, sub 45 flatheads are tank tested not to eat. So the water's below 45, going into 45, not coming out of. I don't know about coming out.
Sure.
But when they tank tested the juvenile catfish for the study that was done, any catfish when it's either 40 or 45, none of them ate, which is interesting. And people think fish need to eat. Flathead are eating all winter. They need to eat. They don't need to eat. I mean, that's proven. For instance, my fish at my parents' house, we have 12 koi fish. 7 months they sit in a plastic tub without food.
Yeah.
They don't eat. They don't have to eat. They go into torpor, and that's what they're made to do. That's what evolution has done for them. where when their body slows down, they're cold-blooded, and not all fish eat the same in the winter. Specifically, catfish. We're in the most northern section of flathead catfish in the country. The St. Croix River Dam in Taylor's Falls is the most northern spot of grouped flathead catfish in the entire country. There's no place more north for flathead catfish.
Huh.
So we're at the peak of the flathead catfish. So you got to think about that too. It's a little different. And even on the Red River for channel catfish, it's really, really difficult to catch one on the ice there, but we can catch them here on the ice pretty easily.
What? Channels?
Channel cats.
Yeah, okay.
So it's interesting when you change regions, and
It is interesting.
it's just that maybe a little longer, harsher winter has made them, their evolution change just a little bit where they won't eat. But flatheads in general, winter, that's what we call it. They winter, to be quite specific about it. And then when that water starts warming up, they start moving out of those wintering spots. And that's when they start feeding. And I think they're like coming out of a nap where they're like kind of more moseying around and they'll pick up some bait.
Sure.
I don't think they're in quite heavy feed mode right out of wintering.
But they will pick up some bait.
Sure.
So you have a chance of catching big flatheads right now.
I don't know the water temp. I think we talked about that already. I can't say or not. I don't know if anyone in here has been on the river. But that's what happens is these catfish come out of these wintering holes, and they'll go many, many, many miles, 10, 20, 30, 40 miles to winter every single year, which is crazy. And when they go back to their summer spots, they'll go back. There's been flatheads that have gone from the Mississippi all the way up to the Minnesota every single year. And that's a cool thing about flathead catfish is like, what?
You are not showing them that picture.
What is it?
We may not talk about it, but we
So
can show
Ron
it.
has a question for you real quick here. He wants to know, is it possible to catch a flathead through the ice?
Yeah, you can snag them through the ice.
Snag them through
Mhm.
the ice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy that I'm not going to get into a guy, but there's someone that was doing that a lot in Illinois.
But either way, I mean, some people say they're catching them in the lip, right?
Yeah, right under the mouth.
Right.
Flatheads don't bite bait.
No, they inhale them.
They inhale bait.
Right.
So that if you catch a flathead with a jig in the back of its throat, I'll believe you caught it.
Sure.
Or if it smoked it. Like I caught one on twister tail in warm water, and it hammered it.
Sure.
And it was in the underneath inside, like 3 inches inside of its mouth.
That's last year's, right?
I've
Last year.
caught one walleye fishing, and it felt the same way.
Same
like,
as a walleye.
You got a little dead weight on there.
100%.
Well, I mean, what else are you gonna do? You're a
Right,
fisherman. You gotta set the hook, right?
Yeah, you
Oh,
do.
yeah.
You do.
So at
They're
that,
free.
Sometimes you're not its sensitivity's not there, and when you feel weight, you set the hook.
see, the difference is I cut my line and throw it back. The other guys drill 3 holes and put their line back in.
Yeah, I don't do that. If I start snagging flatheads when I'm walleye jigging, I move.
I mark it with a stick.
Yeah. So then everyone
And
else will fish it and think it's a good spot.
Well, I think I think most of us around here knows what that stick and ice
yeah.
means.
A lot of the locals know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're around here and you river ice fish, you kind of know the flatheads.
But at the same time, the walleyes move right on top of those things.
They
or with
do.
them, and
They do.
so
And there's a video on YouTube. I don't know if we can watch it, but Brian Clawitter did a study with the DNR
yeah.
in fishermen, and they put a camera down in the wintering holes, and there's walleye swimming around them.
Right.
There's channel cats swimming around them.
So it's not like you can.
But but you can move over 10 feet and you will not snag one.
right.
They're very tight in general. They're wintered very, very tight. So I mean, if you still catch walleye 10 feet away typically.
Sure. But
but-
I'm just not trying to discredit the guys that are purposely snagging.
Yeah, that's
them.
annoying.
That's annoying.
Yep, I don't like it.
But if you accidentally bump into them, if you're
I've snagged a couple before on accident. It happens.
If you're trying, whatever.
Yeah.
That's
I watched the guy snag. We watched a group of kids snag about 8 of them before we yelled at them to stop. And we're like, dude, you can't be. First off, flathead season's closed, and you know they're there. Quit rip jigging them and pulling up 40-pound flatheads. Man, we probably watched them catch 4 or 5, and we're finally like, we're not letting them do this.
Jesus.
They were having a hoot. They didn't know.
fucking riot.
Right. They were having a hell of a time. And like, you guys can't do that. That's first off, it's illegal. They're ripping wraps and stuff. Like, they're just snagging flatheads. Anyways, they They do winter here. They winter in a lot of places in the country, at least congregate. So those flatheads, once the water starts warming up, they're going to start moving and moving and moving. And typically an adult flathead catfish is going to have the same summer spot every year. And I know Ted talked about that. And I'm 100% on board with that. I've been on board with that forever. I know even our telemetry studies have shown that our flatheads come back to the same area every single year, which is super, super cool. Depending if they all winter in the spot, they'll always come back for if conditions have stayed relatively the same.
The river hasn't changed a whole lot.
Yeah, and
Structure.
Do you think the fall river level affected where they went to winter?
no, because it was all navigable.
Sure.
I think they
Like, are they going to push through the rocks?
they're wintering way. Oh, it depends how shallow it is, but I think when the water's really low, I think the ones on top will find a place that they can winter, and the ones on bottom will all find their place to winter regardless. I don't know if they'll go back to the same wintering hole. I don't know about that specifically, to be honest, but I know in general, if they can, they're always going to go back to that same wintering hole,
Right.
and they're always going to go back to the same spot every summer.
And around here, there's often times where they can't.
Yeah,
Just-
there are times for sure.
So
And I'm assuming there's other wintering holes even near the bait shop here.
I haven't found them yet.
I haven't either, but I'm assuming there is.
I haven't ran into them yet.
Right,
is
right,
what I
right.
meant to.
And it's hard to kind of tell when you're marking them on a graph, even in a boat. When you get out in a boat, when they're in their wintering process, sometimes they just look like rocks because they're so
They're just
tight
Tight to the
Right.
and they're
bottom.
huge.
It just looks like part of the bottom.
And there's really no
Yeah.
exception to the rule. There's not a rogue flathead just out swimming around in the river in the winter. They're
Yeah.
all wintering,
Right.
every one of them.
Yep.
And when spring comes around, like I said before, they start moving out of their hole, and then they're going to start feeding. And here we're going to talk about catching spring flathead catfish pre-spawn in the spring. And it is literally the best time of year. There's not even an argument about it. There is no better time to catch numerous amounts of big flatheads than in the spring.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
So
My notepad, Chewy.
it's not a very long list. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
What's at the top of the list, Luke?
Top of the list is fishing cuts. That's it. I mean,
So cuts near what?
nothing. It doesn't matter.
So you're just talking a current seam.
Yep.
If you get any little, so Chewy has a picture I have.
Yep.
We're going to talk about spring channel cats and spring flatheads. Right now we'll talk about flatheads. But in terms of this is river fishing. I don't lake fish flatheads. People lake fish flatheads. People reservoir fish flatheads. I have no idea how to catch flatheads on a lake or a river
Gotta
for
go
the
by
most
dam.
part. Sure. If there's a dam. So I have a picture here showing what I look for when I'm catching flatheads in the spring. So as you can see, the current's going down on that screen right there. And what it is there's a little lip. There's this little tiny lip that's protruding from the side of the bank. And it's causing that fish are either coming upriver. If fish are coming upriver, they're going to hit that little cut that's sticking out of the bank. And they have to go around it. And flatheads move a lot in the spring. They move in the spring 100 times more than they move the rest of the year. And obviously they move at night to feed and go on feeding tables and whatnot. But in terms of movement throughout their year, when they go winter and when they come back in the spring, and what we're doing pre-spawn is we're setting baits on spots that the fish have to move through.
Sure.
So these fish we're catching aren't fish that necessarily are living in that area when we're catching them.
Within a mile is
Within 40 miles.
well.
I'm talking spring.
Master Tim said they
No,
only.
spring. While they're going to their summer and spawning
Oh,
spots.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're catching fish as they're coming back from their wintering holes, or when they're moving. They're not necessarily going to their summer spot at the time, but they're moving a lot more in the spring.
Sure.
That's just the bottom line. And what you're doing is you're finding spots where the current is focused and it's weak on one side and it's strong on the other. And you got a point coming out, and that current seam's coming right on the outside edge of that little outbreak. And you're dropping your baits right at the edge of it, right on the edge of where the slack water starts, and straight back on that seam. Because all those fish are going to be coming, if they're coming upriver, they're going to hit that bank and they're going to have to come straight out.
So you're looking for a funnel where
Yep.
Sand
Any-
points coming out
It's like-
on this way. It's a sheet
it's like
drop on
sitting
this
there
side,
whenever you're
and
hunting
they got
deer
nowhere
again.
else to travel.
Yeah, and I typically like it. I know they're going to be running the edge of the river. They're not. You'll catch flatheads in the middle of the
Sure, sure.
river. It
Yeah,
does happen.
yeah,
They'll
yeah.
travel middle.
Gotcha.
But typically, if a flathead, I would imagine coming in the spring, they're going to be running the slack waters up the cut banks, and if they come up it, they're going to have to go out on this edge, and your boat's going to be sitting. Your boat's going to be on the point that's sticking out, and so that you're downriver. Your boat's sitting downriver, and the side of your boat is right along that seam. Typically, I'll even pull up on the top of it just a little bit and nudge my boat up, and I'll drop a bait right on the back corner of my boat, straight down on the seam.
Always.
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 In the spring. Always in the spring. And I would imagine structure is not as important in the spring. I don't care if there's wood.
You're looking more for the funnel or where we know the wintering holes are and where they're going to travel from there.
You could go from that, but I think they just start slowly scattering. I don't even know how much it matters. I'm not really targeting. I'm not going to fish flatheads for a while. The water's too cold. I wait till the pre-spawn just starts heating up. When you start getting like one every night or so, and then like a week from then it's going to be like 4, 5, 6, 7 flat
Sure.
nights.
Sure.
So-
when it gets really fun.
So Jason wants to know if that's called an eddy, correct?
No,
An eddy circles.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need to be an eddy.
no, it does not.
Just a
I
seam.
like eddies. I fish a lot. Of
Well, it might be a
eddies.
big eddy, it might be a small. I'm sure there's an eddy on the
Yeah,
back
there's
side of
probably
it,
some eddies. Yeah, but
but that's
just
not what
it's
you're
a
targeting.
it's a seam. I'm looking for seams.
Right.
A seam in general, something that creates the seam, not just a standard where you go to the edge. You can even go to the edge of an outer cut bank, and you can just fish tight on the bank, straight off the back of the boat. Like you can just go find the steepest cut bank you can find, and you can go sit right up against the side of the bank and drop a bait down. And that's where those flatheads are going to be traveling in the spring,
So, like,
typically.
where we were at last year.
Yeah, Scott's.
on.
You've been to a few of my spots, so he knows what it's like to
Yeah.
fish those spots. And it's not necessarily, you don't need wood, you don't need anything. I'm looking for in the spring has nothing. And I will fish those spots in the summer, and I use those spots in between feed spots for flatheads at night.
Sure.
I don't necessarily. I can sit in a spot like Ted says. You got to go move to find the fish. The one time you don't is in the spring. If you have spots where you know they're going to be running, you don't have to move. You just keep catching fish. And that's one time I'll actually stick around for 3-4 hours in a spot because the fish just keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of bite wise, I use a little smaller bullheads in the spring. I don't think you necessarily need to. I think they'll eat it, but you get a lot more pickups and runs. And you'll notice, Dan's probably noticed that too. It's not the hammer boat shaking bite in the early spring. It's a lot of, they pick up the bait and your clicker starts going. It's not a aggressive, violent strike typically. Cut bait works really well in the spring too for flatheads. You don't have to run live bait. They're feeding pre-spawn. They're plumping up before they lay their eggs because they're going to go a while without eating. So they're going to be feeding hard. But anyways, I would find a sharp current break that funnels the fish. It doesn't necessarily, the river doesn't need to funnel them, but that spot needs to funnel them. And that's the spot on the spot, just a single spot funnel where it's a hard out, and then there's just a little seam on the inside from just a little outing in the side of the bank.
Like my spot?
Huh?
Like my spot. The spot I always go to.
On the
Everyone knows it. Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
creek.
Right?
The whole
So,
like,
No.
league knows it.
Oh,
Not like that spot.
not like that spot?
It's called the Danny Two Cats.
There's no.
spot.
You got to go 40 feet before you even hit fast water there.
Huh.
If you fit, I guess you could if once you get lower in that spot. I know what you're talking about. That could be considered a. Do you get a lot of good luck there in the spring?
All year.
Well,
Well, last
Well,
year.
not during league. Wait. Not during league, obviously.
Last year I did it on Wednesdays because I came here, and instead of going across the leases, I went out on the river and caught my Saturday fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, but in terms of spring fishing for flatheads, I'm looking for breaks in the current. It can be on just a bend. You don't necessarily need a protrusion from the bank. You can literally
points coming out
just
from the bank, too.
just fish a cut bank, nudge your boat up to the side of the cut bank, and drop your lines right before the fast current. And you don't need wood, nothing like that. Find a spot,
where you know they're going to travel.
And you know they're going to travel there. They're flatheads. That's when you got to take an opportunity to catch those huge fish. They're moving more than ever at that time.
With their mouths wide the fuck
That's
open.
what it feels
Or
like, wide open. And that's how they feels like they bite the bait. They're just like gorge feeding like a whale
Sure.
because they're not smashing baits. They're
Right.
picking baits up and just keep swimming.
Yeah.
They just don't stop. And then you put the brakes on them and cross their eyes. You know what I mean?
So then so what would be the number one bait? Would it be live or would it be cut? What
I
would be
use
the
live
number one?
bait, but a lot of guys use cut in the spring.
It's hard to find
So it's a
bullheads in the
50-50.
spring.
Yeah, and
So it's pretty much what works for you.
I don't think it necessarily matters. It's where you have the baits.
Yeah.
If you're on a travel lane, I think a lot of them are traveling the same little area in the spring. So when you catch one, you might as well just keep throwing a bait there.
Do you like when it comes to like rocks and stuff? Do you use that like knowing the big cats are probably going to take that highway along the rocks and the sand?
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
you know there's a highway there.
you talking your spot again?
No, any spot.
I mean, rocks can
But
be.
yeah, my spot's pretty good.
It's got rocks
It's got a
too.
little bit of everything.
Yeah, agates and everything.
Yeah.
The
Naked people every once in a while.
you'll see that. But it's just in terms in general, cut banks where the fish are going to be traveling, and you can just keep trying different spots. Give it an hour, figure out the pre-spawn bite, find a couple good spots that you're catching fish at. I mean, it's the easiest time to catch big flatheads where you don't have to work that hard, which is really nice. So if you want to get into flathead fishing, if you're watching this, start in the spring when the water gets like 55 to 60 degrees. Fish it hard until spawn. If you can't catch a flathead during pre-spawn, you probably shouldn't catfish.
Yeah, stick to bass fishing.
Yeah.
Right?
First you get a boat, Tara. What if Tara has a boat?
Or
She here?
just
Yeah,
plant,
she's on.
just plant in front of the
Okay.
creeks, and you
Yeah.
probably find yourself a flathead.
You got Wade in the
inlets
house.
are always good.
Long day at work, or you're just old, Wade.
Yeah.
We
Right.
got a chair next to me that we got for you, but you didn't fill it today, so it's a bummer.
Tara thinks that's funny.
What
Wait,
else?
You got a question from Jason Bruce. Do
wait,
you
are
ever-
your fancy jeans still in the dryer? Is that why you couldn't make it today?
I love
do you
that.
ever use chicken liver and cheesecloth?
I've used chicken liver and pantyhose before. I would never use it if I had better bait ever.
How what, Tara?
Yeah, how what, Tara? People do use chicken liver though, Jason.
It's a lot more common down south than
I
up
mean,
north,
people do
but,
it here a lot.
Jason uses juice.
I would rather use a fresh cut bait. And Brad Dirk even said a frozen bait in the spring will outproduce a fresh cut bait. And I think it has part of to do with the decay of a dead fish and them eating the dead shad
Sure.
in the spring
Yeah.
and eating the dead fish from the winter
Sure.
kills. Totally makes sense.
Totally.
So I wish I would have froze more suckers. I'm just saying that because I really want to throw some big chunks of suckers out.
We got plenty of suckers.
You do you? How
Frozen
rotten
meat out.
are they?
Oh, they're right out front in that bench.
so
Wyatt opened it up
Wow.
a couple days ago.
Wow.
I'm just gonna get into channel cats just a little bit. We're gonna be done on flatheads for now, unless you guys have any more questions on it.
So yeah, James wants to know how many questions does Corey get? Well, how much we gave him 50, right? Last time,
Who? How many
Corey?
how many are they regarding flatheads?
Corey.
Because if they're not regarding flatheads,
Then
we're giving
we
them 4
kick 'em
questions
out right away.
Yeah.
And that,
Well, he did say-
counted as one. So you only got 3 left, Corey.
And
So
Jason says I've had a lot of success with chicken liver when fishing channel cats. Yeah, channel
Yeah,
cats.
sure, yeah.
Channel cats is.
I just don't prefer it.
Yeah.
I've had such good luck without it. I've used it before when I couldn't get bait. And just the thought of I'm using raw chicken livers is just, I think it probably works, but I'm just like, I'd rather use regular bait. I'd rather go catch a frog.
It's definitely one you don't want to forget in your car.
It's true.
I grew up
Summer.
on it. My dad always brought chicken liver every time.
Yeah,
And you caught them.
We did.
Yeah.
it works.
I wouldn't
That's
go
what I
chase
grew
a
up
trophy
using.
cat. I wouldn't go chase a trophy catfish with chicken liver. I'll just say that.
So I mean, we
No.
did this for
the
years. I've
drum.
had 10, and we always went down to the behind the prison in Chaska
Yeah.
at the sandbake on the inside.
Yeah.
And we throw chicken livers.
Yeah.
And so, 5 years ago when I started flathead fishing, my dad's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Well, this is the flathead you never taught me how to catch." Sorry,
You
Dad.
know,
They might be live streaming this, I don't know. But
No.
he'll openly admit we never caught one that big, and we went fishing a lot. But my dad's He's in the 50+ club. I'm pretty sure.
That's
He's
awesome.
Well, we always use gizzards. We use livers, but gizzards.
Well,
were more
gizzards
the
are
thing.
tougher.
Yeah.
Gizzards are a lot tougher, but you can buy chicken livers in just containers at Walmart here. I don't know
No.
about gizzards.
Ron Cleveland's in the house, by the way.
What did he say? Read
He
her out
says,
loud.
I actually had better luck on live bait last year, and that spot I normally fished, and I did cut bait in the spring.
I don't know if you fished that spot pre-spawn. Did you, Ron?
man. I'm live bait every time. Like,
I prefer
Never catch
live.
one on a beach
I ended
ball.
up changing to cut bait last summer because it was just out producing live bait for flats.
Sure.
But I'm also usually not fishing. Chewy, chill out on the comments, bro.
Is my family listening?
No.
Oh, good.
Probably.
typically, I think
Sorry,
I
Dad.
think just the
Corey,
I
dude.
think just the circumstances last year with how low the water got, it kind of just changed things up.
Nicole says grapes and worms.
Anything else before I get into channel cats? So, anyways, find a seam if you want to catch a springtime flathead. Wait till the water's like 55. Go crush some spring channel cats. Hit a cut bank. Fish super tight to the bank, or right at the bottom of the drop off of a cut bank would be good. There's usually a current break. So current on the just so you guys, if you don't understand rivers, current on the top. Well, not people reading current and understanding how current is in a river is a huge deal.
It is.
People
It's true.
people just need to realize that the top current is not always reflective of the bottom. When a fish is tight to bottom, there's no current. Realistically, you could catch a flathead anywhere and it could be out of the current, but it'd have to be belly down. So when a fish is down there, super tight to the bottom, the current is super minimal. And it's not the same all the way through. It's not consistent all the way to the top. The fastest water is typically going to be towards the top.
Wind? Is
Uh,
that what causes it?
Wind?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, the fastest current.
No, it's just the more. I don't know. That's a good. It's not the wind.
It can't be.
I don't know this.
Well, that's how I've noticed it. Like the top of the water is always slower or faster depending on the wind for me. I mean, I'm sure the normal current's always going the same speed, but
I would imagine. It doesn't speed the current up, but it'll make waves to make you feel like you're going. It's going
it
faster.
speeds up the top of the water. That's for sure.
Sure.
I got a 7.7 horse, so I
You know.
I know the wind may not.
But
affect
that's
your
not
boat.
has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But I'm just
Okay,
saying.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, in
like,
terms of current, there's just less current way at the bottom. There's riffles and there's runs at the bottom of the river, and those fish can find. If you ever scan like a sandbar on the river with side scan, every little hump in the river, there's a fish behind a lot of them.
Because there's no current there.
There's no current,
It's blocking it.
and
like
so what those
smallmouth
fish,
sitting
what those
behind
fish are doing, a
rocks.
lot of those fish are walleye, right?
but that's been blocked by something.
It's usually just a sand riffle from the current.
They're sitting down and the current.
So what they're doing is they're sitting there waiting for food typically, and a lot of those fish behind those sands out on the river are walleye. Shallow sand walleye in the winter and spring are great.
Unless there's a pocket or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean the same thing for flatheads is that if they're tight on bottom, you just got to imagine the current down at the bottom, not so much at the top.
At what point, water temperature, Sal, do you start targeting channel cats?
45 degrees is when the channel cats start rolling and eating heavy. 50 is even better, and channel cats spawn quite a bit before flatheads do. So in terms of spring channel cats, super feed bag, super feed bag, warmer water. Find that warmer water, slower water. Doesn't necessarily need to be dead water. And you're going to find that a lot of people when they fish channel cats, if you're on a river, if you're in the slack water, you're probably not going to catch a lot of channel cats unless you threw it out to the seam. You'll catch a lot more channel cats. They're called channel cats for a reason. They like the current a lot more than flatheads like the current. Same as blue cats. Blue cats will hang out in 8, 9, 10 mile an hour current on the bottom. And a lot of those guys fish the big people. We don't know what fast current is in Minnesota.
No.
That it just
We
doesn't.
don't.
It does not exist here for catfishing. And like when we fish blue cats on the Missouri, even if you go to like St. Louis or Kansas City, the river there, normal flow is like when the Mississippi's up at flood stage and it's just ripping,
Like 12, 13?
like 10 plus.
Sure.
So the Mississippi, I think flows like 1.5 or 2. The Missouri usually flows at like 6 to 8, I think.
Yeah, it rips.
It's really
What's
fast.
this one?
It's slow. It's really slow. Minnesota's ultra slow. And they call it cubic feet per second of movement of water.
Right.
I don't know like the exact thing, but it's like 20,000 C. So the Missouri River where we fish usually flows at 40,000 CFS. I think here last year was like 2,000
Sure.
or so, maybe less. I think it might even drop below 1,500. And I don't know what that relates to, but I know it's cubic feet per second of water. But I don't know if that relates to speed as much or what. But
Or volume or what? Yeah.
channel cats in the spring are going to go to the warm water. They're going to, so when we fish lakes in the spring for channel cats, we fish lakes, sometimes with rivers in between lakes, creeks. So when the water starts warming up in backwaters or creeks off of lakes that have channel cats, go fish the shallowest parts of the lake. I have a picture here Chewy has on his computer. Here's an example. There's a river that so this lake's full of channel cats. It's not, but it's picked one similar to a couple that I know. Deep water lake, channel cats in the main basin of the lake in the winter, in the fall. They're in the main basin of the lake every bit of the year except in the spring when the channel cats go to spawn. And what they're doing is they're pushing out of the basin and they're going up tributaries to the lake, off the lake, or just shallow flats on the lake. And that's where all the channel cats are going to be in lakes if you're targeting channel cats. And if you can find a transition period in between lakes, let's say there's a slough off of a lake, those channel cats are going to go up into that slough to spawn, even if it's 2 feet deep. And there's a place we fish in Wisconsin very similar to that. And we'll sit in 2 feet of water all weekend and crush giant channel cats. And, we can catch them in between in the river, in between the lakes. On the river itself for channel cats, I just chuck baits in the spring. I mean, there's really no rhyme or reason for spring channel. You gonna fall asleep, Chewy?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm reading the
if
comments.
you're gonna fall
okay.
asleep, will you move the microphone away from your
Yeah,
No,
nose?
you're
I'm reading the
breathing.
comments.
No.
So Tucker in the boom. Tucker in the boom.
That's my Call of Duty partner.
Okay. He says the red is at 224 CFS.
Huh?
Oh, Luke's Call of Duty partner. I bet he
224
reveals some-
CFS.
Well, that would be like not moving.
Yeah.
So it's definitely way more than that. So I guess it's 20,000, 24,000 cubic feet per
And that would
second.
make a lot of sense.
And Nicole says that she's gonna catch blue cat this year. She feels it in the Minnesota.
Yeah, she won't, but
She will, but she can catch
She
a
can
channel
try.
cat and believe she got a
yeah,
blue
there's a
cat.
lot of people that do that.
Yeah. That's
So
pretty
in-
popular.
I didn't really want to get into channel cats a whole lot. I don't like. I kind of just go chuck baits in the spring for channel cats.
What do you use?
Just cut bait.
Just cut bait.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
cut like
Cut
crappies.
sucker. I
sunnies.
can't use crappies and sunnies here. Dan.
Sorry.
No, just cut bait. Just any cut bait. Go catch a creek chub. Go catch a sucker and throw on a piece of bait. Fish off the edge of a hole. I mean, the channel cats go in holes in the winter too. They're with the walleyes. You've seen them come through in the winter.
Mhm.
When you're ice fishing the river, you'll see huge pods of fish come through. A lot of the time, it's channel cats. I've seen them on my camera many times this year.
Or yeah. Carp.
Gar, schools of gar, schools of carp, buffalo. But a lot of the time, like there's a spot around upriver from here where we would be sitting and all of a sudden you'd see 50, 60 fish on my graph and they're all channel cats.
Do you start jigging for your walleyes more aggressively at that point?
Wait, we're walleye fishing?
Yeah.
Talking about walleye?
Well, that's when you see them come through on your screen, right?
Are you saying rip? Did I start rip jigging?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't
No.
ever? I mean, you just put on an extra couple of minnow heads and
So
try to put it in front of their face.
Well, I just hold it. Just hold it there. And they bite.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know lit wrist flips. None.
Well, I just jigging aggressively.
Just a little aggressive jig.
So Jason said Iowa tournament. They had an Iowa tournament last weekend, 54 pounds in 5 channels, one on shad guts. 4 teams turn in 50 pounds.
Shad guts.
Yeah, that'd be nice if we could run the shad right now.
Shad guts.
Yeah, shad
Yep.
guts.
Shad guts.
A lot of guys run the guts, man.
Eggs.
Gut pockets. guts. The guts they catch. They have big shad.
So we can't use that.
Yeah, we can.
Oh boy.
Dude,
Dan just learned.
I just need
something.
bigger shad. We ran a lot of gut pockets in Alabama.
Oh.
Yeah, people love the gut pockets. That's for sure.
Oh boy.
And we were going to talk a little bit about carp tonight. We're not gonna. We're gonna save that for another podcast. We're gonna get a professional carp fisherman on the podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about carp gut pockets.
Dude, carp fishing is so fun.
I mean,
but-
I don't know anybody more professional than me, but we'll wait for somebody to
oh,
pick.
I have a huge list.
Oh,
Huge list.
bring them on.
Yeah, I'll bring them on. I know.
Tara says run the guts.
Yeah. Run the guts.
Pedro says chum them.
I wish.
You can chum.
Not in Minnesota.
Yeah,
No.
you can.
No, you cannot.
Not legally, but you can.
No, it's illegal.
Oh yeah, but you
we
can.
don't promote illegal things on this
Absolutely
podcast.
not. But I'm saying you can.
DNR rules and regulations
For
just
the
like
league.
league.
Not for the
Yeah.
podcast.
Luke's called me out plenty of times, but Dan, don't talk about that. Okay, sorry.
What time is it? How long did I just talk?
I just want to say something. I just think it's awesome that.
8:07.
Dang, I talked a
Hold on.
while.
I just
Well,
want to
we were
say
late.
something.
Yeah, we were.
I want to say something that
Go ahead. About
I
time.
know. Look, I was falling asleep, but I just I just want to. Every little thing that you guys said, Corey brought a comment about it. No matter what, you guys, whatever you talked about, Corey, boom. Like right now, carp killers are more secretive than musky fishers.
There's a lot of pride in catfishing in carp fishing in the UK, especially.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so huge
I
there.
follow it so much.
They have mats and they have little spray they spray on the hook
Yep,
holes.
I subscribe to about I think 6 magazines.
You watch
Sounds
Carl on
interesting.
YouTube or what's his name?
Yep, and I have I listen to their podcast. I forgot what that one's called. There's the
Must be
one
a
Carp
good
UK podcast.
Boys
and
Love
there's another
Boys?
one. No, that's not
No,
it.
you don't,
Oh.
Nicole.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's
nothing wrong
not.
with that.
No. There's
I
nothing
mean,
wrong
hey,
with
There's nothing wrong with that, Scotty.
What?
it.
I didn't hear. I was just replying to that comment right there.
Nicole says you don't catch muskies.
She says she catches muskies all day long.
Yeah, of course.
Is that after? Probably before she smoked, I imagine, or ate the cornbread with the extra.
Have you been
condiment.
changing camera angles?
No, this is great. This is good. All of us are talking, so it's why change
No,
it?
have you been? You haven't done.
What are you talking about? I'm reading the comments, bro.
He's been sleeping. You want me to
I
do
haven't
it?
been to sleep.
Freaking sleepy boy over here wearing his slab shirt.
Says I got some of the spray and it works on all fish. It does.
Yeah, I
We-
should
we
get
have-
some of that.
We're gonna have about 7 new sprays in the shop.
Holy
Next week
cow.
we're getting I think 3 of the new ones.
I wish we could get that one carp
Yeah.
bait that we saw whenever we were in Kansas
What?
City. It was like that. I
Oh,
don't know,
the Asian
packaged
carp.
Yeah.
Asian carp.
Oh yeah. That'd be really good.
That'd be so awesome if you could.
Yeah. So people that don't know what we're talking about, there's two companies now that preserve silver carp, previously known as Asian carp. It's there's still the subspecies. Asian carp is the family of fish, and there's silver carp, there's big head carp.
Yeah. I don't even know
And-
them all.
How do they juice them up?
Anyways, so the jumping carp, as people know them as, the ones that jump in your boat, that is a real thing. Had it happen many times in Missouri on purpose when we're revving the motor behind wing dikes trying to get bait. You just rev the motor and they just jump in the boat. Then you just go fish.
Then you got bait.
They got bait, and they're all like 8 to 20 pounds. And what's interesting is you still can't snag them in Missouri. It's illegal. It's really weird. You can use rods, a few rods, but you can't snag a silver.
You can net them.
We just net one or have them jump in the boat. But they're great bait, great eating. There's a lot of bones in
But
them.
wait, can't you snag one?
You just can't snag in Missouri
Oh, no,
unless
can't
it's
snag,
unless you're
period.
fishing
Can't
paddlefish
snag.
in
It's
season.
a good rule.
Yeah.
No, it is. You can't snag in Minnesota either. Even rough fish, you can't snag rough fish in Minnesota as well. What was I talking about?
Carp and the bait.
Oh, bait. So there's a couple different companies now in the United States that preserve and vacuum seal Asian silver carp for bait in chunks, and they have like different flavors. It holds up super well. But we cannot use it in Minnesota, and they're working on with our state to try to get our preserved bait and to to be allowed to be used in Minnesota. It'd be great because we
So
can't.
it's
So
just
we
because it's invasive is
Yeah,
why
so we-
use it.
so we can't even use common carp as bait in Minnesota, which is very strange. It's an invasive species, but it's a naturalized invasive species now, which means it's overtaken every body of water it's gone in. So it's here now, here to stay, here for good. But they still won't let us use common carp for bait on the Minnesota, Mississippi, and St. Croix rivers, even though there's tons of them in there. We can't cut one up in our boat that we catch and use it as bait.
I remember I asked this question a couple weeks ago. I can't throw it on the bank, but I can dig a hole and bury it.
Yeah, you can dispose of it properly. So it's not wanton waste, which is an interesting thing too. But it is really, really annoying when you go to a spot to shore fish and there's a bunch of dead carp on shore.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers me more than that.
Yeah.
And it's
At least kill it and throw it in the water and let it float away.
You use it for bait.
Put
Right.
it in your garden.
Just
That's what I'm saying. People are
Yes.
killing. A lot of people are killing the carp.
Yeah,
Sure.
I catch and release them, but I would love to be able to keep a carp for bait. That'd be great bait. They're so red meat, bloody, perfect. They're perfect baits. But you can use buffalo as bait, I think.
or,
Yeah.
or channel cats. You can use.
But I don't want to kill a buffalo because they're the oldest living fish species of freshwater species in the country. You know, buffalo.
Respect.
They live over 120. They had one over 130 years old. Big mouth buffalo.
Really.
Yep, in Minnesota.
I had one that I couldn't fit through my ice hole. It
Giant. I bet you it's 100 years old.
The thing was huge. I bet it was
Carp
30
and moon
pounds.
eye.
I thought it was a flathead.
Yeah. Yeah, we can use moon eye, gold eye, suckers, creek chubs, any rough fish, I believe, that's not a common carp. It's so weird.
Yeah, their laws are weird here.
Maybe- speaking of that-
we can shoot them with a bow and put them on the shore.
That's my thing.
No, that's somewhere up in the down the street, right before you get
they
to
literally
Jonathan.
have tournaments.
There was like 30 of them that had been shot with the bow, all right there on the side of the road.
Yeah, they
Really?
Like 30
fill-
of them.
They
We
fill up
counted
their
them.
fucking barrels when they're shooting them.
Oh, I know.
And then somebody went to pick them up because I imagine the smell. But I mean, as soon as
I'm
you cross
sure.
through there, yeah.
It's just so then that got me thinking. So we have our first DNR workshop meeting for catfish next week.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to bring that up and maybe we can push that as a group.
I don't even know if you'd have to push it. Just maybe ask that question. Like,
Yeah,
so I can
and-
shoot this carp.
Yeah.
I can do this with the carp, but I can't cut it up and use it for baits.
And I think it'd be a really, really good opportunity to, if I'm going to go catfishing, I'm going to go channel catfishing. I'm like, I can't get bait. I'm just going to bring some worms. I know I'll catch a carp.
Right.
It's so easy to catch a carp on the Minnesota River.
Correct.
You know how easy it is.
Or a gar.
Yeah.
Is there? So while you're at your DNR workshop, I know they put a protection on gar, which makes
Well-
no sense to me.
Well,
Why did they put a limit on gar?
there's just a lot of, I don't know the exact reason, but I have a feeling it has to do with the guys that put that video up on YouTube.
I understand that.
I think that's it. There was just a big outcry for
That's
it.
it.
I don't know. That's just my guess.
Do you feel that there's an overpopulation of gar on the Minnesota
Oh
River?
gosh, so too many.
So what is the reason for putting a limit on it?
It's a state thing, not a
I'm-
river thing.
I'm not asking you. I'm just maybe
well,
another question.
they're
you
not
could-
like that anywhere but here.
Maybe you could bring that question up next week at the DNR workshop because I think that's pretty important.
Nah,
Why?
we have bigger things to tackle. I'm just kidding.
So they want to know what
What do you want-
are the fines for cutting?
We don't get answers for questions like that.
We just slip it in with everything else, like all of
It's not going to
lawmakers
change now. I
do.
mean, it went through pretty fast.
So what are the fines for using carp if you get caught?
I don't know what it'd be using an invasive species as bait. I don't know what the fine would be or the law.
Depends on the mood of your
Yeah.
CO that day too, probably.
Well, they're asking the fine specifically. I don't know what the fine would be.
Well, I had a guy that I witnessed this, and the guy took a bass from
It wouldn't be game fish as bait.
yeah.
See,
So, I
I'm
mean-
thinking if I'm using a cart for catfish league and I get caught, it's gonna be like $75. But if I win, it's gonna be like 400. So I'm
Right.
gonna come out a winner.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
There you
And
go,
I've
Chris.
used carp on other rivers around the country for bait.
So
Common carp.
Ron wants to know if you think
They're-
that they're gonna pass that 2-rod.
I
With
can't.
the new bills.
I
I
keep
don't-
saying
I
that
don't
they're
think
gonna.
They're gonna.
We
It's
hope.
gonna be on the. It's gonna be on the table again. It's gonna be out there. I'll know more on after Wednesday.
What do we say? Change is hard for old people. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it is hard. It's really hard. If
One-
we could just get it,
Once we get them millennials in the office,
so we
then
can
we're
get
good to go.
we can get a thing called, I don't know exactly. I don't want to speak out of turn for what I know, but I know we can get a special. We can get a special something where the bill can get put through by itself. I believe special session, and I don't know how those work, but that's another way we can get it through. We're going to keep pushing it through as the way it is because the DNR is supporting us right now, which is huge. Being that the fishery department's supporting the 2 lines on the river in Minnesota is
That's
monumental to get it passed. If they didn't support it, we're not getting it passed, I think, and that's when we'd have to go to a special session. But you got to have those biologists backing you up. Otherwise, you're just done for. And last year it was on the statewide rifle bill for deer, which is not going to pass. So we were doomed when we found out it was on there.
Always packaged with it.
Yeah, piggybacked. So we're hoping it gets onto one that we know they're going to pass. I don't know where it's at right now in terms of on a bill or what it is. I could talk to Senator Curran maybe and talk to Mark and see what his dad says, but I know it's going to get brought up on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. And so next podcast, which will be 2 weeks from now, because I'll be in Idaho next Thursday. I have our meeting Wednesday. Me and Tara will be gone next Wednesday, so we won't be at the podcast. We'll be up at the workshop group with the DNR, and then that next morning we leave for Idaho.
Sweet.
White sturgeon coming up on the menu.
Till when?
Where's the workshop?
Are you
I'm
gonna
not
miss?
gonna say.
Are you gonna miss 2 podcasts?
It's super secret, Chewy.
How long are you in Idaho?
We'll come back Sunday.
Okay.
Technically Monday.
So you're like 2-3 day trip.
Yeah, we'll fish a couple days. Tara's never seen mountains before. She's never seen a
What?
mountain. Mm-hmm.
Really?
So it'll be her first time seeing a
What do you
mountain.
mean she's never seen a mountain?
Sure. A little lower.
Oh, shit.
I don't want to get
Nice,
banned.
Luke. That was good. That was good.
But no, it's so we're gonna go out to the Grand
Oh,
Tetons. We're gonna show her Grand Tetons.
Oh, Jesus
Jackson Hole.
Christ.
We're gonna go look at. She's never seen a waterfall. We're gonna go look at a waterfall, and then we're gonna go catch a bunch of brown trout, rainbow trout, and giant white sturgeon.
Hell yeah.
We're hoping the river's not raging because they got 500 inches of snow north of there.
It might be.
Like, no, they literally have 500 inches in the north part of that river.
Yeah, that
That's
river
melting.
might be roaring.
So if it is, we still got fishable spots. We still have reservoirs. So we fish the bottom of a reservoir below the dam. We can actually go to other lakes that they're actually in the reservoir, and we can target them too. We can target them right in town where we're staying. There's an 8.5 footer in that pool, which is like 390 pounds, which would be a good fish. So, but Tara, I know
right.
Tara's excited. I'm excited. My buddy that I went to high school with lives there. He's really excited because we did it last year and we caught so many sturgeon over 7 feet. It was so crazy. It was.
Awesome.
We quit
I
because
remember
we
that trip.
only reason we stopped catching fish is because we could not catch any. We were so tired. Each fish is 20 minutes, and you can't get them in faster because they're so strong. We're running Penn Fathom LW 20s, cinched drags, 80-pound braid, 60-pound leader, and you're dragging it up until they start pulling you in the water, and you have to back the drag off. And that goes on for 20 to 30 minutes every fish. You know how much time I had to cut off those videos of our sturgeon that we caught in my last year's Idaho video? I bet I cut 90% of all the whole fish fight
Yeah,
off.
just watching Richard's video. What is that? 25 minutes?
Yeah, they pull so hard, and when they get down in
That'd
that
be
current,
so
they
fun.
just dig.
Right.
They just dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. And when you get one over like 7.5, 8 feet, it's just, and I can't even imagine like a 9 and 10 footer. It'd be just stupid. Hopefully we get one this year. The pool we're fishing, you
I'm
don't.
hoping Luke's gonna be the new Idaho state record
Oh
holder.
my gosh, that'd be so sick.
3
Double state.
states.
Yeah, right. Where are you going? Oh, he's thirsty. Well, we're almost done with the podcast.
That's all
We're
right.
almost
You just
done.
take it over to
Yeah,
Lisa's.
bring it on over. Anyways, we if you guys have any more catfish questions, make sure you ask. Other than that, Grand opening, second grand opening once again is going to be the 29th of this month.
29th, that's right.
April 29th again, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. My seminar for summer, just flatheads in general, is going to be at noon.
Should we just say
It's a good question.
second grand opening?
I'm gonna bring up
Yeah.
this question here because I was thinking
How
the
many
same.
fucking months you guys are gonna pull this off?
We're
here?
going to do one more after this. We're going to have a third grand. I'm just kidding. This
So,
is it.
Hey.
do
Am
you
I
feel?
am I cooking?
Can I explain why? We're
Am I
just
cooking?
doing hot dogs. Yeah, sure. So we're doing another grand opening because there was a lot of stuff that didn't make it here that still hasn't came here yet. We ordered. So we got a lot of different lines and more rods coming in that never even have showed up yet. And we're gonna make some different apparel. I got some stuff in the works. Chewy's got some stuff in the works for apparel, and we're probably gonna have a couple more reels again because we sold a ton of them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Mike Rosman was saying. So I was thinking about this too. So with the second line, you think they're gonna make us pay extra?
Even if it is, that's okay.
I would
I'm
say
willing
too.
to do it.
I would say too.
Initially, it was brought up as an
Yeah.
extra fee, like a $5 fee,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is fine.
Which will help push it. I
That's-
mean,
And
if-
that's the I think that's on the bill too. I believe I shouldn't. I'm not going to talk because I don't really know specifically anymore. I forgot a lot of it, but initially that's what it was. It was like a $5 or $10 fee that could go towards the DNR fisheries.
Sure.
yeah. I mean, who
Just
wouldn't
like your
want to do
They'll
that?
make
walleye
money.
stamp or whatever.
Every walleye guy and every catfish guy on
But-
this river is going to buy it.
Is that
Yeah.
something that if you're gonna buy a fishing license, then you got to buy for the two rods, or is that going to be an option?
It would be an option for
Yeah.
a second line, just
There
like
you
it is
go.
in Missouri.
Yep.
If you want a third rod,
Do it just
you have
like
to buy a
stamp.
third. You buy a third rod. No, Missouri's already has this in line. It's a third rod license.
That's what I'm
So you can fish two legally. You can buy a third one.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I mean, it just makes sense that we could run two lines on the river. And it's funny, people, when I watch these people on TikTok and YouTube, they got 10 rods out by themselves in the boat, spider webbed out the back of the
Right.
boat.
How do you
Right.
keep up with
And
that?
when I talk to people, like personally, when I talk to them, I'm like, man, that must be nice. I'm like, can you imagine doing what you're doing with one rod out the back of your boat?
And it blows their
We're
mind.
totally do
totally
what
blows
you're
my mind.
doing.
But just
It
re-
does.
Maybe you
remember,
catch as many as they do.
just
Yeah, sometimes.
just remember. I mean, Luke brought that up with Gato Azul, and he was like, "It's just wouldn't happen."
One rod is crazy.
I'm a law of averages guy, and I say they're going to catch more than us every time.
They should.
Should.
If we're in the same water, if someone has four rods out compared to your one, if you're the same person,
You have
you
double the chance.
you could be a lot better angler and have two rods to therefore and outfish them.
I'm a math and gambler. If
But-
I get 50% more chance,
If you get more
Yeah.
chance, if I can use two rods,
I'll pay.
I'm gonna be able to
$5.
hit both my spots instead of just the one. I'm be
I'll
like,
fit-
I can fish there and I can
Right,
fish this
yep.
side.
Inside, outside. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can't do that legally here in Minnesota.
No.
There's the sundown law.
You could just keep having kids like having kids like me.
Well, the sundown law when all the rods come out when the sun goes down.
When is
Oh
this?
man.
No, I mean,
Hey, Luke,
Luke, legally in Minnesota, you can't do that.
that's true. I don't do that. That's illegal. And the people know that I stream. Well, I stream a lot, so I can't be using extra rods anyway.
So they want to know. So Dan, will Dan be cooking the hot dogs again? Because people really like the way he
Dan,
cooked them
no,
hot
Dan
dogs.
can cook them again. There, he did a really good job.
Oh, I did get some
Oh,
appreciation.
big
Oh
time.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was on top
He's a
of it.
professional
Grilled
hot dog
daddy.
handler.
That hamburger with the onions.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Tara works again that Saturday. Tara, can you get that Saturday off so you can come hang
Yeah.
out with us this time? Holy
I don't know.
cow.
I don't know if Wade knew my wife was right there, but he's like, "Damn, Dan, you really got this going on. You make a great wife someday."
That's funny. But
Oh,
yeah,
man.
grand opening again on the
Yeah.
29th. What else?
Another
The
grand
apparel.
opening. This is
So
killing me.
if you guys
Oh
want,
yeah.
if you guys want the new, it's not it's the new for the summer. We got the new pocket tees for Flathead, the Flathead brand. We got the Here Kitty Kitty. I don't think the Old Carver up yet. I can't
Is our
remember.
website up?
But that website is out. Yeah, you just look up Old Carver Fishing, and then just
Yeah, guys, we have a
hit the
website, FYI,
yeah,
where you
Yeah,
can
I
buy
keep forgetting
apparel,
about that.
and it'll ship to you in 2 weeks.
ship to you in about 2 weeks.
So Chewy did all these designs, and all of these, anything you guys order will get shipped out to you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
You can see all the designs on the website. He hasn't promoted it one time yet.
No.
Till right now.
What is
Yeah.
it?
And I don't even think these guys know about
have
it.
no
I
idea.
knew about it, but like I don't know. I just
I
forgot.
mean, he showed it to me, but I don't know what the actual.
We're gonna start
website
promoting it
page-
once Chewy thinks he's ready for it. But right now,
I think
I have
it-
Fish on Luke stuff on there. I think there's some Terra fishing stuff on there.
Yeah.
Will
and-
someone please tell me the webpage name? This is killing me.
You just if you Google Old Carver,
If you Google Old Carver Fishing, bait and tackle, or Carver bait and tackle,
Old Carver.
when we pop up, you'll see the website there, and you click on that, and it'll take you directly.
Yep.
We don't have any other rods, any of that up yet because it takes a while, but the apparel is definitely up there.
Yeah, so if you look at the
post
website
a link.
on the Google page for Old Carver Fishing, Old Carver Bait and Tackle Shop, there's a website button. If you click on the website button, that'll bring you to our apparel website where you can buy apparel. It's what you want.
It's on a Shopify website.
It is Shopify,
Yeah.
which is
yep.
why Chewy didn't want to tell the name of it.
No,
No,
I
it's
just I
not.
don't remember. That's not the reason why.
So
It's
it's, old,
Shopify.
old Carver Outdoors Apparel.
There's a link
at
for you guys there on the-
Shopify.com.
I just put the link for you guys on the chat. So if you guys
Yeah, there's a lot of
click on
sweet
that,
stuff
Copy
on
and
there.
paste it. Take it out there.
And that it's easy for us. It's easy for you guys. You can see what you
Yeah.
like. You can order it. We've gotten quite a few shirts and Dan's seen them and liked them. So they obviously must be real nice. I actually really like how the
Real
one.
nice.
Yeah, we still got Catfish brand in stock. We got Slab, we got Catfish Pro, we got Muddy River Catfishing. We have some of the Here Kitty Kitties in house. Same thing too. When you order from the website, you might get 2 shipments. You might get depending on what you're getting. There's some of the stuff we ship out of here too.
Yeah, some stuff will be
So-
shipped out of here. Some stuff will be shipped out of Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. You might get 2 shipments, like you said. Other than that, grand opening. Come to my seminar. Come meet some Vikings players. At least one for sure. He'll be here at 11 o'clock on the 29th. What else? Anything else? Don't forget to subscribe to Rods and Reloads. What else? Our first video is going to be Idaho. We might actually film one this week still. That's going to be if any of you guys are interested in the video, it's actually going to be how to choose the right catfish rod. And I'm going to have a bunch of 4 medium, heavy, extra heavy, all in the same rod holder in the back of my boat, all with a 20-ounce weight hanging on it. And it's going to show the bend on each rod and what I use them for in different circumstances and different fishing. So I think that'll be a good video, beneficial video for people. That'll maybe be our first video. Our first fishing video is going to be Idaho.
We can hook one on Nicole, and you can talk about drag.
Well, that shouldn't
We'll just make her
disappoint.
run down the street.
Yeah, Tara was going to bring her dog and have it run with the rod. But no, it'll be a good informational video. When we're going to get into like the camping and the catching cooks and the hunting and all that stuff here this summer. So we look forward to doing that on our new channel. Other than that, bass stuff will be in here May 20th, 29th,
Around there.
Chewy's doing some plastic stuff. We got a new company, a younger guy that's making plastics now. We're going to try him out here in the bait shop. And once we get his stuff in, we can talk about that on the podcast a little bit.
We'll have
Is
him
he
as a
coming
guest.
on?
Yeah, we're gonna have him.
We'll
as
have
a
him
guest.
on. Yep. Other than that, yeah, make sure you guys come in here on the 29th. Hang out with us here at Old Carver in Carver, Minnesota.
I
Yeah,
gotta limit this time. 2 brats or burgers per person.
we're just yeah. I only had 6. So,
Savage catfisherman.
yeah,
you
we're
got.
hardcore.
Yeah, those guys are really munching on them.
But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. I don't
I'm
know.
just kidding.
I don't know if they're gonna have a podcast next. Are you gonna have a podcast next Wednesday with
Yeah,
me
we're
and
gonna have
Tara?
it next
again?
one. Yeah,
All right, so
Yeah.
it'll be the 3 boys and probably Wade.
yeah, probably wait. We will definitely have wait.
But me and Tara will be gone.
Maybe
But
we'll bring Nicole in.
we do appreciate all you guys coming in here at Old Carver
Hear
Fishing
that,
Podcast,
Nicole?
and we will see you on the next one.
See you guys. but the thing is, okay,
Who was it?